Hello. I'm hopefully still alive by the time you watch this. Everyone has their favorite stand up comedy special. But how can we compare stand up comedy specials without the favoritism getting in the way? Hopefully, like this! Welcome to the Laugh Track! We track stats and chat facts. This week I'll be watching Someday You'll Die, Nikki Glazer's most recent of her 4 stand up comedy specials. This was filmed in Seattle, Washington, at the Moore Theater. Released in 2024 for HBO, where you can still watch it. This Year in Comedy 2024. Movies, TV shows, a whole bunch of nothing in my opinion. Don't quote me on it, but I didn't like it a lot. Mean Girls got a remake. Finally. Ricky Stenicki came out. Too thunderous. And Anyone But You. Gata was in that movie. He was like the comedic relief to a movie that was supposed to be a comedy. That's not always a good sign. You can quote me on that. Anyone But You was... that's my impression of a small person singing Flight of the Bumblebee. Not a little person, an actual small person. TV shows that came out this year: The Gentleman, Ted, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But Robert Strange, those are movies. No, they aren't. Those are TV shows that came out in the year 2024. 2 of them are good. Guess which ones? Probably the ones that waited longer than 4.5 years to become a TV show. Ted, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. People were like, yeah, give us more of that. But The Gentleman had just come out. I mean, I know that people really like that aesthetic. Like the fucking Peaky Blinders and Conor McGregor, like around 2016, people really started getting like Guy Ritchie and, so we didn't need The Gentleman. I'd much rather rewatch Ted or Mr. and Mrs. Smith. As far as comedians this year, highest grossing comedians as far as ticket sales, starting in the year 2022, we started to get a lot more detailed notes as far as the highest grossing tickets breaks down. So here we go. For this year, we have Matt Rife on the list. He's in the middle. We got Gabriel Iglesias, and then at the top of the list, Nate Bargatze. That's a strange way to do a 3-person list, but I did it. This is a fun week for me to talk about the comedic controversy of the year, because usually it's like, someone ate a baby, or someone did stuff inside of a Chick-fil-A playpen, but this week it's just that, Joe Coy sucks. It's, I feel bad saying it, but it's honestly, objectively speaking, it's better than the alternative. Everyone this year just thought that Joe Coy kind of sucked when he hosted the Golden Globes, and that was all anyone talked about for like a couple of weeks. And ironically, what the special that we're watching this week, Nikki Glazer, Someday You'll Die, Nikki Glazer took over the hosting duties in the subsequent, cool word, the subsequent year, if that is actually how you use that cool word. Nikki Glazer was the host for the Golden Globes the next year. How long did it take me to say that? And now it's time for my favorite segment. Was there an intro? No! Minute 0 to 10, Nikki comes out on stage, and the first word that I would use to describe her is patient. I know I've probably described other comedians before with the word patient, especially as they come out on stage, but what I mean by that, and I think she starts talking around the 18-second mark. Like I said, no intro. You don't really need an intro. She gets right into the show, which is cool, It's a comedy special. Gets right into the comedy. She doesn't try to make the audience laugh until around the 48-second mark. So it's just interesting that, she hurries up, she gets into it, and it's, like a casual conversation. She hurries into a casual conversation where you just kind of like hang out for 30 seconds, and then she hits you with 2 punchlines back to back, or like a punchline and then a tagline onto the punchline. 63 laughs here in the opening 10 minutes. I also like that she immediately sets up that, hey, I'm going to be talking about a lot of dark stuff during this comedy special. It's sort of like a trigger warning or like a shot across the bow type joke. Like, hey, dead baby joke in the first 60 seconds. Look out. Here's what we're going to be talking about. 63 laughs. Minutes 11 to 20. Opening line of the segment. I would die for my kids, but I will die of heroin. I mean, you know, chef's kiss type joke line, whatever you want to say. I just really like it a lot. That's really good writing. Brings me to this point. I think that Nikki Glaser is a lot like I see similarities to Norm Macdonald, how she's a character up there, but a lot of the character is definitely herself. I don't know how to describe it, kind of like maybe like she's taken one aspect of her perspective, or like she's kind of like removed one part of her perspective and then just heightened it to an entire character that she's stepped inside of like a costume. And what I mean in the similarity to Norm Macdonald is that the character that she's chosen is sort of like the aloof, stupid side of her personality, but she complements that very well with very smart jokes that have been honed to a sharp point over a long period of time. You can tell she respects the jokes, she respects the laughs, the punchline, all like the comedy stuff that you want in a good professional comedian. But she's playing a little idiot up there. You know what I mean? 56 laughs here in this segment. Minutes 21 to 30. The thing that I noticed during this specific rewatch of this specific 10 minutes of this specific comedy special really just heightens and complements the thing that I said in about the last 10 minutes of the comedy special, which is about like the perspective, the character that Nikki kind of steps inside. I think that a lot of comedians do that, and in between the takes I was thinking, and like I think like John Mulaney does that a lot. Specifically, he does it, and then he has a voice that kind of goes along with it, and Nikki Glaser definitely has a voice that goes along with her character here too. Seems to be, like I already mentioned, aloof, but kind of like also mean girl, like an aloof mean girl voice. I don't know, just look for that or listen for that when you and if you watch and if you listen to this comedy special. 53 laughs during this segment. Pretty consistent to the last one, down a little bit, but it's good to stay in the pocket, she's riding strong or whatever. Minutes 31 to 40. The thing that's interesting about this 10 minutes is the laughs in particular. So let's get those up right now. Boom, 74 laughs in this 10-minute section. Spoiler alert, that's the most in this entire comedy special in terms of laughs per minute. So far, I have not seen anyone stockpile jokes in the middle. You see it a lot at the end, you see it a lot at the beginning. Nikki is very consistent throughout this entire comedy special in the front and the back, but then right in the middle, just a big portion of the laughs out of nowhere. 41 to 50. Little flute voice. 41. The Susan Boyle joke made me laugh out loud, which is, Robert, it's comedy. I don't really laugh a lot when I'm watching comedy in my house by myself. It seems like, the things that I've noticed when you're like with more people and then the darker that the room is are the two things that matter for the more that you're laughing. I don't know. Prove me wrong. You know what I mean? So I'm watching these comedy specials for the laugh track, at least by myself in my house. It's the daytime. The lights are on. There's no one for miles. I'm pissed off, I just not like I've also seen all these comedy specials a lot of times before. I'm not like laughing out loud, but the Susan Boyle joke had me laughing out loud, and it took me 60 seconds to say that. Also, I've probably got to stop shitting on myself for just be nicer to myself in these videos. I'm noticing a through line. I'm mean to myself a little bit. Not a lot. There's a little bit of bullying going on here. What's that? Oh, bullying going on. Where? Here. Okay. 58 laughs in this segment. Like I said, we're kind of like evening back out. She's very consistent in every single section in terms of laugh quantity except for the middle. Weird. Finishing out the special, Someday You'll Die, minutes 51 to 58. Nikki gives us one of those famous, ever sought after, hard to attain, good crescendo jokes. which is where you end your comedy special with kind of like emptying your bag of tricks. Here, Nikki does the gangbang joke, which technically begins in the last 10-minute segment, but I didn't really bring it up because it's not that notable until this point. One thing that's interesting is that I didn't really, or I did remember Nikki talking more about her relationships throughout, or her relationship throughout the comedy special. But it's not really until the gangbang joke that she really gets into her relationship. But anyway, the crescendo. So she gets really, really personal. She goes a little bit dark. She does like really sexual material. She does the funny voices. She does the act outs. She does really smart storytelling, really good structure as far as like paying off other story arcs and like topical arcs from earlier on in the show. She's able to keep the laughs consistent here, which is something that if you're like doing a crescendo is pretty essential, because otherwise people really get lost in the sauce. It's like a spaghetti junction going on. I think like 56 laughs here in this segment. Like I said, like she's given us a little bit of everything. If I have one complaint, it's that throughout the entire special, she's never grabbing at low-hanging fruit until, or maybe not until, there's probably other like little outlier examples here and there, but the Mario like impression that she did, like she wanted in the gangbang joke at the end with her boyfriend, it just, the whole 20 minutes, not 20 minutes, the whole 20 minutes of the whole 20 seconds of the setup, I'm thinking to myself, it's not just gonna be a Mario voice, is it? And it was, and you can see it coming from a mile away. That's a small little thing. But if I have, one little complaint about the last 10 minutes, it's that great comedy, professional comedy, lots of great laughs, lots of great writing. Let's get to the stats to see how it's stacked up.
Those were the laughs. Now let's get to the stats. Starting out with the bad words. Someday You'll Die gave us a total of 80 bad words. Leading the way from the big four is fuck. Who could have seen that coming? 34 entries. Leading the way from the eclectic bunch, dick, with 11. Total laughs, 360. From a total time speaking of 58 minutes, 25 seconds. That gives us a laughs per minute of 6.16 and a laughs per second of that really big, really small looking number right there. And also, since this is a Nikki Glazer stand-up comedy special, we're tracking another stat. How many times did she mention Taylor Swift? 1, 2, 3, 4.
And now we compare. Well, looks like nothing's really changed this week. Daniel Tosh Happy Thoughts still in the lead for most laughs and most laughs per second. And what's this? Dave Chappelle's still in the lead too for most bad words. You're gonna have to come back next week to see if things change, right? You're coming back, right? You're coming back, right? We gotta see if it changes next week. You're coming back, right?